Jagruti, good to have you right here on the South African Morning. Just give us some context as to perhaps even some of the themes that was important to both Donald Trump and Joe Biden to touch on as they wrapped up this presidential debate.
Yeah, I mean, really front and centre was the coronavirus pandemic, with Donald Trump once again defending his record on the pandemic. He talked about his own experiences of recovering from COVID-19, talking about the therapeutics, saying that a vaccine would be available by the end of the year. He once again repeated that refrain that the US is turning the corner. Joe Biden, on the other hand, he sort of perhaps has an easier job because he's not the president while the coronavirus pandemic is underway. So he is able to, talk about what he would do, saying that he would have a national plan to reopen schools, responding to those criticisms of Donald Trump, saying that there isn't a central plan to help schools and businesses across the country reopen. And he also attacked the president, citing the more than 220,000 deaths in America as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, saying that somebody who'd presided over this number of deaths shouldn't remain as president of the United States. Another issue was that of election interference, given the briefing by the intelligence officials only yesterday that Iran and Russia had obtained voter registration data. But that quickly turned into an argument over personal finances, with Joe Biden attacking Donald Trump over his failure to release his tax returns, and Donald Trump raising those allegations in a New York Times, a New York Post report alleging corruption by Joe Biden, by Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden, and his business dealings in Ukraine and China. These are allegations that have not been verified by any other media outlet in the United States. Joe Biden defending himself, saying that he had not taken any money from any foreign entity. And the other big issue was really that of race in America. Both candidates really on the back foot, having to defend their record, with President Trump, if you remember in that first debate, failing to fully condemn white supremacists. Now he is claiming that he's the least racist person in the room, and Joe Biden sort of saying that his dog whistle is louder than a foghorn. Joe Biden, of course, had to defend his own record on the mass deportations under the Obama administration, and also his own record as working on that controversial crime bill in the 90s, which led to the incarceration of many minorities in the United States.
And with that being said, I mean, with 11 days just to go, Jagruti, till the elections take place, how is it on the ground in terms of, awareness being raised on the importance of voting, particularly in those minority groups, the Latino group, the Hispanic group, as well as even the black vote in America?
Yes, it's interesting. I mean, the thing is, Joe Biden has enjoyed the support of black Americans. We saw that in the primaries, that they really led him, pushed him to become the Democratic nominee after some, really poor start. Joe Biden hasn't been faring as well with Latino voters in Florida, for example. He's been really pushing to win their votes by campaigning heavily in that battleground state. But Donald Trump has also been facing some challenges with minority votes, particularly the black vote in America. But what we must remember is that this debate and the issues in this particular debate, while they are, many of them front and centre in the minds of many Americans, there are, very few people who have really remained undecided as to who they're going to vote for. Most polls show that most Americans have picked who they are going to vote for, and more than 40 million Americans have already voted in the election by, taking advantage of the early voting that is happening in states across the country. So there's only really the few remaining undecided voters who have the potential to be swayed by this debate. And as you say, less than 2 weeks to go, 11 days to go until Election Day. Election Day, the significance of that isn't really perhaps as important as it may have been in previous elections.
Well, Jagruti Dave, that's where we'll leave it. Thank you so much for joining us, our US correspondent.